G'day and welcome to this week's edition. G'day and welcome to this week's edition of the Rev Up, brought to you by CrowCast. Good evening, Cameron. How are you?
Good, thanks. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad for an old fella.
Old's right.
Obviously, this week we are previewing the big clash in Darwin, TIO Stadium, against the Demons, and it's turned into a bit of a must-win.
Tell you what, we've got some demons up there, don't we? Hey.
Cut.
Yes. Working on that one all week.
Oh, another one. Every week.
Yeah.
Every week. All right, no, but, I mean, seriously, what did you think of the game last week? What a capitulation.
I only watched from the second quarter onwards because it cut into when I was playing a little bit. But thought we were sitting pretty. I was laughing. I was, the drinks were flowing at half time.
Everyone's happy.
And then, thank God, I don't really remember the second half because it wasn't good.
Well, to refresh your memory, we went from 33 points up to 12 points down.
Not good.
In a half of football.
There's been some words thrown around. Insipid.
Yep.
Gutless.
Yep.
And what about Tex?
Oh, look, we'll get to Tex, but
It hurts me. I take it personally when he doesn't play well because I go into bat for him all the time on social media.
I know.
To you.
I know.
To my friends.
Yeah.
It really hurts me when that sort of stuff happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the vision itself speaks for itself. A lot of this.
Yeah.
A lot of this. A lot of this.
It hurts me because he's quality. We know that. We know what he
I don't think he is anymore.
No. Come on. We know he is.
I don't think he is.
Is down and out at the moment.
Well, I would you consider the option of him standing down as captain?
I think that one you've got to tread
not
carefully.
because he's not a good captain.
No. I know what you're trying to get at because a captain should lead by example. And
No, not even that.
what are you saying then?
I think it's weighing him down. I think he feels too much responsibility on his shoulders. I think he feels like he's got to get the team up.
Yeah.
And all I'd like to see him do is lead out of that square, take a few on the chest, and kick a few through the middle. I don't want him to be worried about the club or who's standing where or all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
I know all that's important, but right now, Tex needs to consider his place in the team and his role in the team and just get the agate and kick some goals.
Well, it worked for Boki, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It did. He's having a career season this year.
Yeah.
Career season.
I mean, I did wonder whether that was part of the reason why Sloan was named co-captain in the first place at the start of the year.
Yeah.
To take that burden off Tex, because we had a rough year last year, let's be honest, and that wouldn't have been easy. So I did wonder whether that was a bit of a tactical move, but maybe we'll see him step down next year.
Well, he's copped it in the media this week.
Oh, yeah, Victorians have been going at him hard.
And, like, Nick Revolt, Dermot
Brereton, Nathan Brown has compared his and Jenkins' stats, and they're basically the same.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. We did drop Jenkins for some insipid performances.
Yeah, well, it wasn't insipid as such, but it was the same things that we're getting stuck into Tex now for.
Yeah.
Squibbing out of contests, going up one-handed.
Yeah.
The only thing that Tex, I'll say, is I feel like the actual intent is there in terms of his effort, whereas Jenkins has a tendency to look like he's disinterested.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't feel like that with Tex. But I think with Tex and Jenkins, the similarities are that shirking contests and not going up and crashing packs.
Yeah, well, that one with Hearn was a nasty
that
one.
wasn't a good look.
No.
That wasn't
I think we're getting a little bit more out of Tex defensively.
Well, he's still getting tackles and whatever, but he's a key forward. We need him to kick goals. Tackles is great, but that should be the cream on
secondary.
top. Yeah, cream on the top of his game, not the primary focus.
Yeah, and the problem is because we're not getting a contest because we didn't get a contest out of him last week, particularly in the second half. Like, you probably didn't watch it as closely as I did because you were playing, but in that first half, we were doing exactly what Don likes. We would repeat forward entries, pushing the defence up, all that sort of stuff. So we had a lot of ball in forward of centre, you know. But in the second half, as the contest dried up and they got on top in the midfield,
McGovern got off the chain
a little bit. We weren't able to continue to have those repeat forward entries, and a lot of that was because we had no one competing for mark.
Yeah,
Berg was outclassed. I think he needs.
I think he played a week too many, to be honest.
Yeah, but I didn't mind him playing.
Oh no! But it was.
But I
apparent.
think it showed. Yeah,
it was apparent that he probably played a week too many.
I'll tell you what else is apparent with Himmelberg. As big as he is, he needs to put on a bit of beef.
Size. Yeah. But anyway, we've sort of harped on about last week a fair bit.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it in the rearview mirror. Let's just leave it back there.
Well, what it means is that this game is quite important because we do have a tough stretch leading up to the bye.
Yep.
The other thing that I meant to mention to you, what do you think about the mid-season draft?
Yeah, what was that all about?
We picked up Pass.
Yeah,
that was good.
I've heard he's raking left footer.
Yeah. Ginger. We didn't pick anyone up, but
why not?
I don't know.
Is there a reason? Surely it wouldn't have hurt.
Salary cap?
Aren't they being paid like?
No, they're
peanuts?
within this. No. They're still on reasonable coin. I think it's 80 grand or something.
So peanuts for an AFL footballer, really?
Well, and that I guess begs the question: if it was salary cap, that's a worry.
I didn't think it was. I thought we had room.
Well, we do have room on the list.
No, room in the cap.
Well, we've been playing one short on our list for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So maybe there is some salary cap issues.
Or maybe we're banking for next year.
Or maybe we've front-ended some contracts or whatever. But, you know, I mean, we've got Duday on the long-term.
I suppose the other thing you got to look at as well, though, is that, like, do we have any holes immediately that we can't fill with our own list?
Wouldn't have minded another ruckman.
Yeah, but was there one available, though?
Oh, there was probably 50.
But Rob's been all right, and Sauce is about to come back from injury. You know, like...
How about a key forward who can take a mark?
Yeah, well, do you think that they're going to drop all of the forwards that we've got just to play a bloke that we've picked up out of the mid-season draft when we're not even playing the guys that we've got in the twos?
I don't know.
That's sort of what I'm getting at, though.
I know.
Maybe the thinking was, well, we're not going to play him anyway, so why even pick one?
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't pick one up just because they could. They got today on the LTI. Why not?
But why not just do it? Like, you never know. You could blood a star.
Yeah, you just don't know.
Well, look at like Tim Kelly. He would have been prime candidate for that a couple of years ago. Just, go get yourself a Tim Kelly. That'd be handy.
Yeah, it would be handy. Anyway, look, let's move forward. As I said, we got the D's this week at TIO Stadium. I don't know. I will get to that. No, he's not.
Who are you talking about?
Jakey Lever's not in.
No, he hurt his ankle in his comeback game in the twos.
Yeah. But really important game now. We've got a tough stretch to the bye, and we need to bank as many wins as we can. And obviously, dropping the West Coast game last week makes this one doubly important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
especially because in the grand scheme of things, Melbourne are typically struggling. So we've got to really stamp our authority here. And
interestingly, we've only beaten Melbourne twice in the last 5 times, which is an interesting stat. I know, the last couple of years they've been on the rise, but twice in the last five.
Easy for you to say.
Last 5 games.
How many cans have you had, mate?
Just one so far.
Well, and I reckon both those... one time was at Adelaide and then the other time was at Darwin.
Alice Springs.
And when we got pumped.
Alice Springs, that was, yeah.
Sorry, Alice Springs.
Smacked.
Yeah.
Why don't we go through the teams, Do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure, why not? All right, so we'll start from the back line. So we've got Hibbert, Frost and Wagner across the full back line. Marty Hoare, Oscar McDonald and Jaden Hunt across half back. Centre line we have Brayshaw, Viney and Oscar Baker. I think, is he debuting? Maybe? Or no, I think he's played a couple of games now. My apologies. Yeah. Half forward line, we have Nathan Jones, Tom McDonald and Petrarca. Full forward line, Garlett, T. Smith and Harms. And then the followers, we have the big Max Gawn, Hannon and Clayton Oliver. And then on the interchange, we have Salem, Spargo, Stretch and Fritsch. Their emergencies are Jordan, Kennedy Harris, Sam Wiederman, and then the other Wagner in Corey.
There you go. Couple of good ins there.
Yeah, they've got that injury there to Lockhart and Petty. I don't even know who they are, so I'm not going to pretend like I do. And then Corey Wagner's been omitted.
There you go. All right, the Crows. Interesting selections this week. I'll just go through the team first of all. Luke Brown, Daniel Talia, Kyle Hartigan across full back. Half-back line of Brodie Smith, Alex Keith and Rory Laird. Centre line, Wayne Millerer.
Junior.
Brad Crouch. R. Atkins. No votes. Paul Seedsman. Taylor Walker. No votes. Tom Lynch back in across half forward.
Missed him.
Lockie Murphy. Josh Jenkins. No votes. And Eddie Betts across full forward.
Yeah.
Rucking Riley O'Brien. Big week for Riley O'Brien. Bryce Gibbs back in as well after some stellar non-form in no games that he played while he was out.
How did he train well?
Well, apparently him and one other trained about an hour after the...
Three of them. It was him, Jenkins, and someone else. Can't remember.
So they must have played really well in the dim, dark lights of Adelaide Oval.
Jenkins said he was copping flack from... Oh, no, sorry, Gibbs was... Sorry, Jenkins said Gibbs was copping flack from his sister, who was still in the corporate box.
And probably on the turf.
Yeah. I think so.
And Sloaney, obviously. On the interchange bench, we have Huey Greenwood, Jordan Galuch, Jake Kelly, no votes, and Cameron Ellis-Yeoman. Emergencies, Riley Knight, David McKay, a little unfortunate.
Is he still
Jones.
sick? Sorry, is he still sick? Because I know he's sick last week.
Well, he can't be sick if he's on the emergency list.
But do we actually know for sure whether he's better or not?
I don't know whether he was sick or not.
Well, that's what they said.
Well, yeah, maybe they wanted to get Riley Knight in to do a tagging job that he didn't turn up for.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough.
And Chase Jones also a little stiff, I believe. What do you mean, Elliot Himmelberg also having a bit of a breather this week.
Yeah.
So in we've got Tommy Lynch, Josh Jenkins and Bryce Gibbs, Chase Jones, Riley Knight and Elliot Himmelberg omitted. And congrats to Junior for playing his 50th. That's come around quick.
Yeah, kind of. We drafted him in, 2015?
Yep. But the way we develop players, I mean...
4 years ago.
Fogarty's not going to reach 50 games until about 2023, apparently.
I was talking about this with one of my friends.
Yes.
And it's pretty apparent that going back to, I think, Matt Crouch, in between then and now, there's not many players that have played a lot of games. Miller is probably the only one.
Yep.
It's pretty concerning.
Yep.
So are we drafting wrong, or do we not trust our new blood?
We don't trust them.
Well, that's a bit silly considering...
Well, we'll talk a bit about a few players during this particular...
Talk a bit about
We'll
them.
just mention in passing.
Just graze over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
Oh, look, can you make a case for two players to come in off the back of no games? I guess they had to bring... Like anyone they brought in would have had no game.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I can almost cop Gibbs because I don't think he's as far away as what Jenkins was when he was dropped. However, it's a bit rich, and Bryce would be a bit confused as well, I would have thought, being told to go back to the twos and working on your game, not having a game and then getting picked the next week.
Well, we've got form doing that. Dave McKay last year did that. Got dropped.
Yeah.
Work on your game, D-Mac. Oh, yeah, well, I read a book on football.
I watched a lot of tape.
Lee Matthews, How to Play Football.
Yeah.
And that was good enough. I passed the test and I came back in.
The other one that concerns me, and I had a bit of a dip at someone on social media during the week about this as well.
Not like you.
Yeah, well, Josh Jenkins getting called back after kicking 6 goals.
Yeah.
You know who it was. It was bloody Rowie on freaking 5AA.
Seriously?
Beating his chest about how good Jenkins played on the weekend. I was like, did he even watch the game?
I don't think he did.
Because I was looking through it, and by all reports, he played on someone half his size, like basically for most of the game. He kicked 3 of his goals in junk time when the game was over. Like, did he really have that much of a good game?
Well, no, not really.
And that was 2 weeks ago.
That's 2 weeks ago, after having a stinker the week before.
And I get that Himmelberg needed to come out because he was looking a bit cooked, but we've got a bloke by the name of Darcy Fogarty just waiting.
He's still on the list?
Yeah, he's just waiting in the twos for a gig.
Yeah.
Like, and you know what? That bloke can take a contested mark. He doesn't mind, getting in an aerial contest. Just doesn't really make sense.
No, even young Ben Davis doesn't mind taking a grab.
Can take a grab, I've heard.
I don't know what's going on.
It's confusing. It's sort of like Pike or whoever, selection committee have gone.
Look,
they've copped a lot of outside pressure because a few of the boys are underperforming. Jenkins is a notorious whipping boy, so he's an easy target, so we'll get rid of him for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Bryce is on the outer because he's not part of our core midfield because he's only just gotten to the club and, murmurings that there's a few other issues outside of footy and, maybe his defensive work isn't as good, so we'll flick him because he's a big name. And then we've just brought him back because it's like, all right, we've had our fun now, we'll put the normal team back on the park. That's what it feels like to me.
All right, well, the only thing that I can say in Jenkins' favour is that this is not the game you don't want to have a second ruck.
Yeah, true.
So in terms of that option, because...
And to be honest, that's actually a fair point. That might have helped him.
I would think it's the only reason.
Oh, it wouldn't be the only reason, you wouldn't have thought.
I think it is. Okay. If they're managing Elliott, which I believe they probably would, then they've got to replace someone who can ruck. Now, they either use a Kyle Hartigan or a Alex Keith or a Cameron Ellis-Yeoman and give away the ruck, or they have a genuine dip with the second ruckman. And if you're going to do that, the only other person on our list who can do that at the moment, who's of the standard, is Josh Jenkins.
To be honest, that's actually a very good point. I hadn't actually thought of that until you just mentioned it then.
So, that's it. That's the only reason, in my opinion.
Yep.
Bryce Gibbs, on the other hand, I can make a case, but I can also make a case for two or three that are not getting a run at the moment.
Well, I'll tell you who I think really doesn't deserve to be there is probably Atkins, and I feel like that McKay really does deserve to be in that team considering his form. That's why I wonder whether he's not 100% right. And even Jones...
He wouldn't be on the emergency list if he's not 100. It just wouldn't be.
Yeah, but we saw... There was someone else who was on... Bryce was on the emergency list a couple of weeks ago, and he wasn't supposedly right. So I don't think we can take too much notice of that, to be honest. So I feel that we're really struggling to sort of get that balance between Seedsman, Miller, Smith, Laird, Atkins, and there's one other that I'm forgetting. And Gallucci. And I feel like we don't know how to play them all in the same team. But I also feel like that the balance is thrown out by having Atkins there because he can only play on that wing. He doesn't really play very well at half forward. We can't trust him down back. Whereas all those other blokes, bar maybe Seedsman, can play all around that ground.
There's a bloke by the name of Andrew Peterson who's playing Div 6 for CBC this week in the B grade.
Oh, right.
He deserves a run ahead of Rory Atkins.
Who is this bloke?
I don't know. I just made him up.
But
the simple fact is that Rory Atkins should not be in this team.
No, he shouldn't
And I don't even know whether I can follow the Adelaide Crows Football Club while Rory Atkins is in the team, because I don't know how Rory Atkins can go and sit in a Monday meeting and look at those frickin' tapes and think to myself, yeah, I'm an AFL footballer. I'm up to scruff on that. The bloody squibs that he did, and the week before as well... He doesn't deserve to be on the park. He doesn't deserve to be wearing a jumper. He is the biggest squib since Luke Jericho on our list. Goodness. And I would argue that at least Luke sometimes had a crack. Rory Atkins is the biggest squib ever to have played for our club.
Rory, if you're watching.
I don't care. He comes out with his bloody golden boots and all he does is run laps up and down the bloody wing. And any time there's any sort of heat in the game, he's out. He clocks out. He gets his little card, his little keychain, and he goes up to the bloody thing and he clocks out.
You make fair points.
Do I?
Yeah,
I thought I was ranting.
No, you did. I think you've torched him a fair bit there.
He deserves it. He deserves it. What he has dished up in pressure situations the last 2 weeks has been unacceptable. And I hope with the 360-degree reviews that they do at the club with the leading teams and all that sort of stuff, I hope his teammates have torched him as much as I have, because we've got blokes like Sloan and that who will bust their asses to get the ball.
And dive on hand grenades, really.
Yep, absolutely. And then we've got a bloke like Rory Atkins who will sit and wait to get on the end of a chain and do the fancy stuff and will never, ever, ever put his body on the line. There were 2 opportunities, one right at the death last week where he had the opportunity to put his body on the line, and not only did he not do it, but he did it so badly that even the bloke at the top of the Riverside stand could see that he'd squibbed. Right, now, I don't know how he can walk off the ground at the end of the game and look at those blokes that he plays with and go, yeah, I'm with you.
Well, it's interesting as well because we've been torching a bloke like Tex all week for squibbing.
Yep.
But Tex does it every now and again. Ratkins does it all the time, every game. So, fair's fair. Got to call him out.
I'm really disappointed with the club that they have continued to pick Rory Atkins.
Well, it doesn't. It seems like he's on the sheet every week, like first on the sheet every week, because it never even looks like he's going to get dropped. There's no talk about him. He sort of flies under the radar in terms of outside media attention. He just sort of just floats there, yeah.
Just there. Look, I think I would rather have David McKay's pressure and output.
Fucking oath, especially, excuse my French, but especially with McKay this year, he's been one of our best, really.
But because of Atkins being... We're playing Paul Seisman now at half forward. He's too far ahead of the ball. We don't need Paul Seisman at half forward. We need him behind the ball or around the midfield content in the transition. He's not a lead up forward.
Yeah. No, he's not.
Like, he's on the wing. I don't see the reasoning behind having Rory Atkins in the team. It's going to be damp. It's going to be slippery. The ball's got to be on the ground. And one of Melbourne's strengths is
contested ball.
A tough midfield.
Yeah.
Big units in the midfield.
Yep.
Right? And we've got that squib who's going to be sitting in the bar.
That's all right. He'll probably line up on Baker, who's like a second gamer. So,
Yeah, and he'll get towed up. I don't want to harp on this any longer, but I just like, for the record, in case anyone has misconstrued anything that I've said.
Yeah, look.
I'm not happy with Rory Atkins' selection.
I think we all deduced that, Roberto.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
What you're putting down there.
Yeah, very good. All right, so, I mean, let's have a look at how we match up zone by zone. And, I think their defence is actually a little bit underrated.
Yes,
I like Frost and McDonald as key posts down back.
Yeah, they're serviceable.
Jaden Hunt with that massive talk last year. Remember that?
No, that was 2 years ago. He didn't play last year.
That was at Alice, wasn't it?
No, it was the year before because we beat him that game.
Are you sure?
Because it was a night game, whereas we played... when we got beaten last time, we played him.
One of the biggest torts I've ever seen.
Yeah, until Seatsman topped it.
Yeah, he's going all right. Hibbard's all right. He's pretty solid.
Well, he's probably been their best down that back line in terms of their ball movement and whatever. He's sort of rejuvenated himself. He's a bit quiet last year when they were up and about, but he's sort of found a bit of form again this year.
Yeah, so...
And Marty Hoare, good talent as well. Bit of a fresh face. He's been tearing it up. He's on my fantasy team as well.
Is he?
Yeah. Gets me 90s every week. I love it.
Oh, 90s for a backman is a good time.
And he was freaking cheap as well, so it's a good time.
Yeah. And look, let's face it, our forward line has been our Achilles heel. We had 60 forward entries to 48 last week.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Yep.
Couldn't convert on the scoreboard.
And that is just quickly taking a little tangent. That is the biggest load of shit I've ever heard. Like, an Adelaide team is recently is supposed to be this potent attacking force. If an Adelaide team has 60 forward entries, we win the game.
We should be kicking 100 points.
Well, 2017 we had 60 entries, we kick 150 points.
Yeah.
It's fucking crap.
Yeah. And it's down to our key posts. Yeah. And Eddie. Yeah. Let's face it, and Eddie. But I think Eddie works best when our key posts are going well.
Yeah. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked again.
But, in terms of how we match up, I think the pressure's going to be on. I think,
absolutely.
McDonald and Frost are going to be big challenges for Tex and Jenkins.
Yep.
And look, those blokes are going to be all over the bloody chirp about what's been going on in the media. First, Jenkins gets dropped for essentially being soft and not having a good attitude.
Yep.
Tex has copped it all week for being soft. And, they'll probably both get reported in the first 10 minutes.
If I was...
Tex may kill somebody.
I've played down back a little bit in my footy career, and if I got wind of something like that, there'd be all sorts of stuff flying around.
Oh, they'll be on the chirp. Yeah, no doubt about it.
I'd be saying things like, we're playing the twos this week, all that sort of shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's not going to be easy for our forward line, and a lot depends on our tools.
Yeah.
And a lot depends on Eddie Betts. It's his, it's one of his favourite games of the year when we go up there.
Yeah.
He's around family and friends, all the rest of it. He likes to perform. He needs to perform.
Yep.
He needs to hit the scoreboard.
Yep.
The ball's going to spend a lot of time on the ground, I believe.
Yep.
Donkey, who comes on our Tuesday night cast, lives in the Northern Territory or in Darwin or around that area. Up there somewhere. Up that way. Nowhere near it, actually. Yeah. No, he's up there. And he's reported today that it was, quite slippery. So... Ball's going to spend a lot of time on the deck. Eddie Betts, Lockie Murphy, these blokes, Greenwood and Ellis Yeoman when they play forward.
Yep.
Gallucci at times, as well as Miller and that other bloke. They're going to be in play, and it's going to be interesting to see what sort of a response we get from Tex and Jenkins.
Oh, you'd freaking hope that they've got a bit of pride and there's a bit of fire in the belly.
There's been a lot of opportunities to show that.
Yeah, I agree. But I actually think Jenkins especially, he's copped a lot since he's gone back to the twos.
He's dished a lot as well.
Yeah, but, being defensive, if someone was attacking me about my profession, even if it was warranted, I'd still feel defensive about it and I'd still want to stick up for myself. And I hope he takes that level of intent, I guess, to the game. And I hope that he tries to stamp his authority on it. I don't even care if he doesn't need to kick 10 goals.
No, it needs to be a target.
And he just needs to assert himself on the game because when he does, we know what he can do. He can turn a game by himself.
I think that's the most disappointing thing about Jenkins. Particularly after the bye in the 2017 season, we started to see some aggression. We started to see him not be outbodied, not give away not get out of the contest too early. He was actually staying in the contest, and
he gave Rance the biggest bath I've ever seen.
Absolutely, and that was playing as a traditional tall forward. And that's all we want to see. For God's sakes, Josh, think of the trade value.
We want a first round pick.
Well, this week we want a couple of goals and we want a presence. That's what we want. Across the midfield,
it's going to be a good battle. Whew.
Big battle, I think.
A couple of bodies flying around early. You got blokes like Viney, Oliver, Angus Brayshaw up against like Sloaney and that.
Crouch.
And
Ellis Yeoman, Greenwood.
I want to see Ellis Yeoman absolutely poleaxe Viney.
I'd like to see someone take out Oliver, actually, because he burns us.
Yeah, but I don't like Viney.
No, I don't like Viney. Well, I know you don't like Viney. I know you don't like Viney for reasons that we won't go into. But I think the biggest problem that we're going to have in terms of matching up against their midfield is that we're playing one short. It's not easy when you're playing one short. We haven't named anyone on the outer wing. It's just open space.
17 versus 18 doesn't always go well.
It doesn't work.
No.
I believe that there's a pair of golden boots sitting out on the wing.
They move by themselves.
May or may not have blonde hair because that's been known to happen. But there won't actually be a player there. So young Oscar Baker, he might break even.
He's playing loose, you reckon?
But in all honesty, Miller and Atkins are going to have to really step up because it's going to be a game played in tight, but the ball is going to come out, and that's where we're going to need some sort of drive from those blokes. And also, we didn't mention Brodie Smith either in that group because I'm sure he'll run a little bit through that midfield rotation as well.
And Luch as well, probably. He'll play up on
and
the wing
a bit of Luch as well. So, a big... I think... Two areas... Oh, we'll get to that.
Ahead of yourself there, right?
Yeah. And I don't know what to make of their forward line.
It's a bit makeshift, isn't it? Tim Smith isn't a slouch, though. Don't sleep on Tim Smith. I saw him play a few good games last year. I haven't seen much of him this year. I think he's been a bit injured. Like you mentioned, Garlett always gets up for us. Nathan Jones, we already know what he can do. And Petrarca, he is the most streakiest player that you can ever encounter. He'll turn the game on his head one week and then just be completely non-existent the next.
McDonald's not bad. He's solid.
Yeah, but he is struggling this year, and I was going to talk about McDonald a little bit later. But But, yeah, I think that when Petrarca plays well, that forward line is firing. Yeah. But I also think he's a little bit victim of their ball movement at the moment as well. He seemed like their forward entries are horrendous. They're worse than ours.
Yeah.
Like, they're really struggling with that this year. Their contested ball and their midfield work has been good, and their rebound out of half-back has been good, but their ball movement into their forward line is fucking horrible.
Yeah, right.
And I've seen them play a few games, like one against St Kilda a couple of weeks ago. It was trash.
That's probably because they've got an ex-Adelaide player as a coach. And traditionally, Adelaide don't know how to use a forward line.
But Simon Goodwin was like the best forward feeder of them all.
It doesn't matter. He did that just because he's talented.
No, he's just kicking to his mate Rue at full forward. Yeah, that's all that was.
But yeah, anyway.
Moving on, are we? Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, look, I think I expressed a lot of confidence in our defence last week. In fact, I went so far as to say I'm not worried about our defence.
You did.
It's fine.
I remember that.
And then Daniel Talia decided to have his worst game since under 12s, right? And in the space of
Tales in under 12.
I didn't have to. I got reports. And in the space of 5 minutes in that third quarter, completely turned the game.
Lost us.
Utterly turned the game.
Lost us the game, actually. And the thing is, though, it's the only time he's ever done it. So we'll give him one.
It's actually not.
Oh,
it's actually not.
I've never seen him play that bad. Well, in a quarter.
Under 12. No. No. He's been playing better this year. In fact, I've been quite surprised. He's seemed quite free in his movement and a little bit more. Because for a while there, he looked like he was playing like an old man.
Yeah, slowing down a bit, yeah.
But my godfather.
He just turned it over a bit.
But he didn't have to.
Yeah.
We're 33 points up.
Yeah.
Why are you taking a risk?
Don't know.
You know, and then, I mean, look, I think in fairness, Kennedy is always the one that Talia struggles with.
Yep.
He is the man that...
He's the only one.
And let's face it, Kennedy's a beast.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
and
very underrated
And
as
what
well.
they, without talking about last week's game too much, what they did was isolate him.
Yeah.
They got Keith out of the equation and isolated Talia on Kennedy.
And they did it pretty well as well.
They did.
Yeah.
And he paid them back because he actually took a mark. And I hope they played Kennedy's tape on Monday and showed it to JJ and Tex and said, just FYI.
That's how you take a grab,
just
lad.
FYI, you know.
Oh, Jesus. We're going to get hate mail from these boys. They're going to be a
we love you. We love you, Tex. We really do.
He doesn't.
Just take a grab.
Excuse me for a moment.
What are you doing?
No, I'm sorry. I'm coming back.
So, was it? Oh, yeah, fault. No, defence. So, you know, whilst I had confidence, I think what happens with our defence is that when we're playing as a group, we're very good.
We look $1 million.
Very good.
Yeah.
But isolated, and I think this goes with any defence, really. I think the way the rules are these days, the way that the game's officiated, the way the ball moves, the 6-6-6, all of that, if you get a one-out contest with an opponent who's anywhere near decent, as a defender, it's going to be very difficult.
Unless you've got a mismatch. If you're playing, and speaking from someone who's played, if I'm playing at fullback and...
You're actually giving yourself a bit of a bloody...
Look, I've got a bit of confidence playing Divi 5 A grade at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm up and about. But playing anyone who's played football, if you've ever played a key position, whether it be forward or back, if you're a backman and the ball's coming in hot and you're standing there with your man by himself and they've kicked it out in front,
no chance.
You got no hope.
No chance.
And it's a horrible feeling.
Might as well hit him in the head.
Yeah. Oh, you may as well do something to stop him illegally because you're not going to get him on purpose.
Yep.
So... You know, and they did that against us last week really well, and you're 100% right. If they can isolate us again...
Yeah, even without any real key targets that I can think of, if they structure up well... And look...
And again, we're very tall again, I might add, when they're not really. They've got Smith, who is a medium tall, and then they've got McDonald, who's a genuine tall, and that's it.
Oh, Petrarca's... How tall is Petrarca?
Petrarca would be... similar height to me, but
so probably Keith matchup.
I'd probably even rather Hardigan. Oh, I don't know. I actually don't know.
Yeah,
that's why I'm a bit concerned.
Yeah,
Petrarca isn't really a tall; he's a medium.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is that they probably don't have any. Tom McDonald can take a clunk.
Yep.
But apart from that,
yeah.
But they have a habit sometimes of chucking Oscar forward.
Yeah.
And Gawn will drift forward as well.
Yeah, he does, yep.
So but they are struggling for goals. So I think as long as our defence keep playing like a unit, and as long as Melbourne don't do anything too tricky in terms of trying to isolate, I hate to say it, but I think we've got them covered.
Jesus, you being positive?
Wow. Well, I said it last week, and look how that turned out.
Idiot. All right, so who are your key players for us? Who do we need to get up?
Hang on.
What?
Rucks.
Oh. Hurry up.
No, we've done the midfield. It's all good. Let's play on. Who are your key players?
No, I said that to you.
Who are my key players?
Yeah, who do we need to play well for us to get
Tex.
up? Yeah, all right. Cool.
Tex.
That's an easy one.
I just want Tex to respond.
Yeah.
I want Tex to go up 2 hands. I want Tex to
It's not much to ask, is it?
Well, apparently it is. If you watch a montage of Tex's work this season, you would actually think he's that Black Knight out of Monty Python, the Holy Grail. You know, he's only got one arm. Because I don't know where the other one is, but it's not up in the air, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right.
Just been on and on about it. Leave him alone. He's copped enough of a bake this
Wayne
week.
Miller, I think, is another key.
All right.
We saw that he could do a little bit of damage up forward when we got that mismatch with McGovern last week.
Well, we know that. We drafted him as a forward, really.
Well, forward mid,
Yeah.
But we really need some output on the outside.
I really want Miller just to put 4 quarters together.
Yeah.
And I'm not being critical because I know he's young.
No, yeah.
Played 50 games, rah. But I think that he does have a tendency to sort of just go missing for a quarter.
Yeah.
I'd love him to, because we know what he brings. He's electric, he's really skillful, he's evasive, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But if he can just string 4 quarters together and just have a real big breakout game and have like 30 touches and a couple of goals.
I think that's the next step for him.
Because he's got it in him, I reckon.
Yeah.
And when he does, look out, because he'll be unstoppable if he gets it together like that.
Is the move to swap Miller and Seedsman?
I think I'd rather Miller in the middle, and I'd rather have Seedsman on the wing, and I'd rather not have Atkins there.
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
I remember him.
Yeah.
What number of draft pick was he? 60?
Yeah.
And I've changed my third key player from what I told you before.
I can't remember, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Riley O'Brien,
Yeah.
I think, is a key player.
Big Rob.
Because Matt Scorn is going to be a big challenge. They will run, I think they run...
His biggest.
Do they run Oscar McDonald as second row?
Oh, no.
They sort of mix it around a little bit?
Gorn normally takes it. For
pretty much all of it.
Yeah, and they experimented with Bruce a little bit, but I don't think it worked. So
No.
I think Gorn's just like, boys, I got this.
Yeah.
He had more possessions than his entire midfield last week.
Yeah, I know.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, I know. Big test against... was Gorn All-Australian last year? It should have been if he wasn't.
I can't remember. It was out of him or Grundy.
Anyway, close enough.
Yeah.
So I think it's key for Riley because we saw what happened when West Coast got first use. Shuey and Gaff and that, they got off the chain.
Yep.
Yeah, Yo was a beast. You picked it last week with Yo. Yeah,
he had 14 tackles.
Yeah, I know, he was a tackling beast. He's really changed his...
No, he's always been like that.
All right.
Yeah. Shut up. What do you know?
Oh, nothing about West Coast.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. So O'Brien, I think...
It really exposed us, actually, and you hit a good point because it's happened a couple of weeks now. Happened against Port.
Yep.
Happened against West Coast again. And look, I've really been pleasantly surprised with Rob, but at the end of the day, he is still undersized. And he's
a kid with 10 games experience.
And, well, not just that, but he gets beaten out of centre clearance far too often.
All right, I'll agree with that. However, there's a certain gentleman by the name of Mr. Camporeale in our coach's box, who is our senior assistant and head of strategy, apparently, and has a lot to do with our midfield setup. So I'm not blaming Mick Godden just yet.
Just yet. He's next.
The amount of times I've looked at footage the second or third time around and noticed that,
we don't have anyone on.
we don't have a defensive side midfielder.
I've noticed that.
What the hell?
Is that the players or is that a proper setup?
Well, it doesn't matter if it's the players or a proper setup. We lose the tap, they kick a goal, the runner's allowed to come out and say, "Oh, boys, one on the back, please."
Well, to be honest, and I know Rob gets enough hit outs to sort of warrant him, being picked, but if I was a midfielder playing in that team, I probably wouldn't be reading Rob's hand, I'd be reading the opposition straight off the bat.
But you know as well as I do, you need one on the back.
Yeah, of course. But I'm sort of saying, in general, all of the midfielders shouldn't be reading Rob. They should be reading the opposition ruckman because we know he's undersized. We know he struggles at the centre clearance. Why are we even playing an attacking setup at the centre clearance?
Well, and the funny thing is that there was one or two times where Riley O'Brien actually did get the tap and tapped it to his preferred spot. We didn't actually have a bloke there. So, mate, Melbourne, who do you reckon are the key blokes for Melbourne?
Yeah, look, and we've already touched on Rob, but I was actually going to put my drink down.
Nope.
Wow. Yeah, we've already talked about Rob, and I was actually going to talk about Gawn before you change your selection anyway. Reason being is he does so much for the team. First off, like I said before, he had the most possessions out of his entire midfield on the weekend, which is massive for a ruckman. He chops out down back, he gets forward and he kicks goals. He does it every week, so it's kind of like a staple for him. But he really needs to continue to doing that if they've even got a sniff. Yeah. If he has a quiet one or doesn't have much of an impact or doesn't even just give him first use, they're going to really struggle.
Yeah.
And like he's the complete package. Gives them first use, chops out down back, kicks goals, gets posies, takes marks. Like the only thing that he can't really do is kick, and even then his kicking's not that bad.
Yeah, no, it's not terrible.
Yeah, so if Gorney's up and about, that'll be great for them. The next one, and we sort of talked about him a little bit earlier as well, and I think he's been a bit down and out this year, and it's Tom McDonald.
Yeah.
He's really important for their forward structures, and I think it's no coincidence that since he's struggled a bit this year, their forward line's sort of gone to poo a little bit. Yeah. I know that Hogan's not there, but I think when he was up and about last year and when they were flying, he was kicking 4 goals a game, and he was really important to that forward structure. And I just think that it's really important for Tom to just try and impose himself. Just take a few grabs, kick 3 or 4 goals, and that'll go a long way for that forward line and just his own confidence as well, I think, because I think he's struggling. If he's up and about and gets that forward line going, happy days for them. And then the last one, and it hurts me.
I know it hurts.
It hurts me, but I think Jack Viney for them is really, really important.
If only people knew.
Yeah. And look, credit where credit's due. He's a bull. He just puts his head over it every time without fail. He's a tough customer. He's a real big instigator for them for that type of ground ball and hard ball get as well. And I think that when he's going in and leading by example like that, the rest follow. That's when Oliver gets in. That's when Brayshaw gets in.
He's the sort of bloke that once you see him go hard at it a few times, just chest puffed out.
He lifts them. And if he's up and about early and there's going to be a bit of feeling in this game, and we'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah.
If he's up and about early and he starts throwing bodies around and, winning a few really big hardball gets early, that midfield's going to be ticking.
Yeah. I agree.
So I think those 3 boys for them. And again, they're some of the older heads, especially Gawn and Viney. They're their leaders as well.
Yeah.
And it's really important because they're down and out at the moment. And like between us and them, we've probably been the 2 biggest disappointments this year. Like people had
that's a fair call.
Melbourne were flag favourites. We're supposed to finish top 4. Adelaide's not doing horribly. We're not doing great. But Melbourne are really struggling.
Yeah.
So they really need to step up. And this is no easy game for us. It's a bit of a danger game. So
if Melbourne are going to have any sort of influence on the top 8 or get into the top 8,
to win.
They need to win this game.
And if we want to stay in touch with top 4, we need to win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a lot on the line. So you're Simon Goody with your big, long, raking left foot
I love
kick.
Goody as well.
Because he's a left footer.
He's my favourite player back in the day.
Wow.
He was.
Did you model your game on Simon?
No, I was too skillful for that.
Give it up.
Never.
Just a good player out of luck.
Yeah, that's it.
So how do you beat the Crows?
See, I think that if they beat us at the coalface with those big bodies that they've got in the midfield, and I think that if they can just get that forward line clicking and get that forward entry sorted out, because it's been horrible recently, I think that's going to go a long way to them to win. And I think that if they beat us at the coalface and they do get that forward movement going, they're probably going to beat us.
Well, see, I kind of disagree. If I'm Pikey and I'm looking at how we're beating the Demons, I think my biggest worry is actually what happens on the outside of the contest. I think that in order for them to get any sort of value for their forward 50 entries, they need to be going in quite quickly and getting as many one-out contests as possible. And I think, so from Pikey's perspective, I think a lot is going to ride on Miller and Brodie Smith, and even that other bloke, if he turns up, Rory Atkins, because it's going to be their transition that kills us.
Yeah.
I'm not happy.
No, I can tell.
It's going to be their transition, I think, that kills us. If they can get a few chains going and get through the corridor and all the rest of it, and get fast forward 50 entries, that's going to be more of... We saw last week how vulnerable we are under those circumstances.
Oh, 100%.
I don't think it matters too much from Adelaide's point of view whether we actually win clearances as such. I think we need to be obviously around the mark because we need to get enough first use.
Yep.
But I think from our perspective, it's more about what happens on the outside of the contest and whether we can get some smooth transition going to get some one-out contests in our forward line.
Yep.
But also to be able to run defensively enough to be able to stop their transition when they're coming off half-back. I think their back six is their strength of the two lines, forward and back. They get a lot of run out of Hibbert, as you said before, Jaden Hunt, Hoare, Salem, Brayshaw, Oliver, those sort of blokes. I think they're the blokes who are going to hurt us.
Well, they do rebound really well, but that's why I'm saying it's the next kick that they're really struggling with.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we're the best defensive running team going around. I think we can get caught on transition, and it's blokes like Brad Crouch and that who need to run.
Yep.
And Ellis Yeoman, who can be a bit of a jogger. These sort of blokes, they need to be on their game, on their toes when the ball is in Melbourne's hands.
Yep.
To make sure that we make it as difficult for them to transition the ball from their back half. If it doesn't go too quick, I think we're okay. If we allow them to get clean chains of possession through that midfield, I think we're in strife.
Okay. So, what are your tips then?
Well, we all know that the Melbourne Footy Club has had a bit of a tragedy this week.
Yep.
And I don't want to talk about it specifically,
No.
apart from obviously, offering our condolences for what it's worth to those involved. But I don't think it's too big of a stretch to think that Melbourne are going to have a little bit of extra incentive.
Yeah. Well, the players have definitely rallied around the Green family, haven't they?
Yep, they have. Yep. They have, and as well they should too.
Yeah, of course.
They're going to come to play irrespective. They are not going to come out and play an insipid brand of football.
No, it's going to be hot early.
It's not going to be that kind of a game where Melbourne don't turn up. Melbourne are going to turn up.
Yep.
And hence we need to turn up as well. As we mentioned also, this is almost Melbourne's last roll of the dice already this season with regards to a final spot.
Yeah. Can they stay in touch?
Exactly. So it's a bit of a logjam in that, 5th to 12th situation
as well.
These are the games that worry me for the Crows, and I don't think that the people that need to lift have got enough upside in them to be able to lift sufficiently, and I'm talking Jenkins and Atkins and those sort of blokes. I don't think they've got enough of an upside in them to be able to turn it around sufficiently, and I think we go down by a couple.
Right. See, I'm the other way.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a Don Pike, and I'm going to back the boys in.
Back again?
Yeah.
How long are we going to back these boys in?
Just this week.
Just this week.
And we'll see for next
Otherwise,
week.
the Rev Up's just going to be a big spew fest.
Well, I've had to sort of just yin to your yang a little bit this week already. But, look, I expect Tex to fire.
No.
I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. I don't really expect anything from Rory. I haven't all year.
No.
I do expect Jenkins to perk up. I think that...
No votes.
I don't really care what you think, but I think that he has copped a fair bit and he's been giving as good as he got in the media and whatever, and he's had a few dummy spit moments, but I also think that he's, I guess, matured over in that little period with some of his responses. Yeah,
Really?
I do. Because it went from, I'm being hard done by, to I probably need another game in the twos to be able to prove that I'm worthy.
You don't reckon it was Ian Shuttleworth knocking on the door and going, "Oi, Josh, shut the hell up"?
It could have been. I don't care though.
Yeah, that's not maturity.
Oh, shut up! It's my turn. You had your turn. I sat here quietly. I let you talk, even though you're completely wrong.
Oh.
And then I waited for my turn.
Come on.
It's called manners. Try it.
You're well brought up then.
Yeah, well, obviously mum's side, but whatever.
Wow.
But look, with Jenkins, I really, really do think that he'll have some fire in the belly. I think he has copped way too much to just roll over and dish up the same as what he was before he was dropped. Mm-hmm. I think it's just only natural for him to respond.
Yeah.
And I expect a couple of bags in that forward line this weekend.
Couple of bags?
And I think that Jenkins is going to be one of them.
Really? Mm-hmm. Yep. So what, you reckon he's going to kick?
4, at least.
I'm prepared to put a 6-pack on the fact that he does not kick more or 4 goals or more.
So 4 goals or more, or more than 4 goals?
No, 4 goals or more. Jenkins will not kick more than 4 goals or more.
So if he kicks 3, I lose. If he kicks 4, I win.
Correct.
Can I pick the 6-pack?
Yep.
Okay.
You're on.
Can't wait. Just add it to the tally of that board that we've got over there.
Come on.
How I've got 20 and you've got 1?
Come on, mate.
Well,
get on with it. Get on with it.
Right there. Oh, I'm done. We win by 6 goals.
We win by 6 goals.
Yeah.
Right, that's it from the Rev Up this week. Thanks very much to Ryan at Smith Partners Real Estate and Down to Earth Real Estate.
Who?
Down to Earth Electrical.
Oh, yeah.
For their ongoing support of the CrowCast. Thanks very much to all the people who support us on Patreon. If you want to support us on Patreon, of course, you can click on the orange button on our website, aflcrowcast.com, or you can go to patreon.com/AFLCrowcast and do it there. You can listen to us everywhere: iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, that other radio app that I can't remember.
Your outros are just so long. I'm like,
dude, we got to give credit to these people.
Yeah,
that
sponsors
help us.
are all good.
Yeah, well, I'm just telling people how they can listen to us.
Yeah, with their ears.
Facebook Live, YouTube, Spreaker, any podcasting app that you can think of, Google Podcasts. There's no excuse. So,
okay.
So there's no excuse for anyone.
Fair enough.
In Australia.
It's not like we're not on enough platforms, is it?
That's right. Anyway, but look, thanks very much. Obviously, the wrap will be on 7 p.m. on Sunday evening. The game starts at 7 o'clock tonight, so we hope you're all revved up and ready to go for the Adelaide v Melbourne clash at TIO Stadium. And until Sunday night, we'll see you later.
See ya.